Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic University podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Canton III, and we are here for a mailbag edition of the show. And on top of that, we will be talking about the Ironheart trailer. But among those things, we always talk about MC University Patreon, patreon.com/MC University Pod. We can get our bonus content, such as a subscriber mailbag, which we are recording after this episode. And we will be getting into the Fantastic Four before the end of the month.
Fantastic Four.
Yes, looking forward to that. And of course, you can get into our Discord for $3, get the backlog of every single episode that we've ever done. And if you're watching now on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. With that being said, let me introduce the super producer, Jake Christie. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing well. If you were watching the video and you saw me just like poke at my computer, it's because I wanted to confirm that I was using the right microphone. And so I was poking at the microphone internally. I'm like, okay, so it's not. Anyway. Actually, wait, let me see something. I actually think. All right, I just stopped the recording and checked, and I was using the right microphone. That was a waste of everyone's time. How are you doing, AC?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So I figured before we get into the questions, I wanted to talk about the Ironheart trailer, which came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I have thoughts about why it came out yesterday
Mm-hmm.
and why it didn't come out the day before when Disney was doing its upfronts, which
Mm-hmm.
it just made absolutely no sense. It's one of the most ridiculous things. Quite frankly, they are being a little too obvious in the way that they have marketed this show, which, by the way, has been shot and in the can for basically, I would say, close to 2 years now. And I just find it very irritating that once again, a show or a movie regarding any type of woman or woman of color seems to be put into the background or dumped or something along those lines, especially with
Yeah.
the 3 episode initial release. Now, with me, digging into that further, I was a little concerned that they was gonna just do 3 episodes and 3 episodes, but no, there's gonna be 3 episodes in the subsequent weeks following the first drop, which will lead to Fantastic Four 9 days out from Fantastic Four. But Jake, take it away.
I mean, it really sucks that it feels like the institutional directive is that of like it's like they've codified the glass cliff, which is the concept of the idea there's the glass ceiling when someone, usually a woman or a person of color, is the first person to accomplish something. The concept of the glass cliff is that they're often put in a position to fail. Now it's usually the term originally is for women because that's what the glass ceiling is, but honestly, like a place you always find it is like if an NFL team is rebuilding and they know they're not going to keep a coach for a while, hey, let's get a black guy. You know what I mean? Like and the fact that they're doing this with Echo and Ironheart, it's like, come on, guys. We see what's going on, and in entertainment, it's so insidious because what you can do is you put it in you don't promote it that much. You keep it in the can forever. When people lose interest in the character, you do a shitty release, and then when it doesn't do that well, you're like, looks like we got to go back to all white guys. People don't want to watch the black woman, and it's like, it's so, it's just like, come on. It's like, it's gross. It's like it just gross is
It's
what
frustrating. Yeah. I mean, to your point, irritating, frustrating, gross, all of those things. And when the trailer came out yesterday, obviously the worst of the internet, whoa, what a shocker, came out in full force with the comments. It was just funny. I was just rewatching the trailer before we came on here, and you go on the YouTube comments, and yeah, you would think one would disable those things by now, but no, we're letting all them things rock. So
Yeah.
I just think it's just an endless stream of hate, and I think to your point, as far as they're not they're just not hiding it anymore. They're just being so outright with it without it, which is unfortunate because it's a Ryan Coogler executive produced thing, and one would think that that would be something that you would lean into, especially after the success of Sinners and how popular that's been. But nah, man, when institutions want to behave like institutions, boy, they're
Yeah.
gonna get to institute.
It's because the problem ultimately is that in a lot of ways, entertainment executives usually are trying to make things as successful as possible. But when a lot of the name of the game is ass covering, you act like people are incentivized for things like Ironheart not to be successful because they want to blame someone else, right? So
Yeah.
like you it's makes you on its face like, wait, why would they be trying to like not do much promotion, yada yada? It's like because they want to be able to say like we're not gonna do this anymore, and it's like I don't know, just give it a chance. Like it looks good. I mean, let's talk about what's actually in the trailer. Like it looks
Yeah,
interesting, there's some interesting elements. It didn't knock my socks off, but I'm like, yeah, this is a fun show. It's a character that's really charismatic. It's got some interesting stuff going on with the science and mysticism and all that, and it's like that deserves a chance. Like there's stuff in it that is going to be interesting to people, and I don't know, man. I am excited about it because I've been looking forward to it, but it's like highlight that. Like there's elements. It's not nothing. There's elements to it that are really sellable.
cool thing that I liked, at least from a marketing standpoint, was they recorded Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio watching the trailer, so getting their reaction was cool. I think as far as the trailer itself, when I heard about some of the stuff that they were doing with the show, I was excited nonetheless because you're bringing obviously a lot of the Iron Man elements into the purview here. Just with Riri Williams, it's a character that we saw in Wakanda Forever, obviously, and then now you're bringing her here. But just the idea of mixing the science and technology and the mysticism, supernatural elements that it seems like we got going on with the Hood, that seems like something that's very interesting. And I also really like the fact that this is now coming off of what I thought was one of What If's best episodes.
Mm-hmm.
In the Riri Williams episode, which we got kind of a key into the character even more than what we saw in Wakanda Forever. And I wonder if that personality is going to continue to translate in this, as it seems like she's going to be in over her head because she's such a problem solving person and is so confident in her abilities that she gets into a situation where she will have to learn some valuable lessons about being a hero. Listen, I love a hero origin story if it's done well.
Yeah.
This from that standpoint should be interesting.
Now I do wonder. Do you think the show would be more successful if Anthony Ramos is the lead and they called it Tales from the Hood 3? What if they were to get AI, like do an AI version of Clarence Williams III? I know he's no longer with us, but
That would be that would. I mean, listen. At this point, you never know. As long as you put a male in front of it, it seems like that's the way for these things to go, as
yeah.
far as that's concerned.
Honestly, it truly is just you call them the Hood, and I'm like, I've known that this is the character's name the whole time, and it never once occurred to me like, oh, the Hood is not. It means something else.
Yeah, yeah, and is it so? There's that. We see Alden Ehrenreich
Hmm.
as right now he's named as McGillicuddy, as I
Hmm.
saw in the cast, but he's actually Zeke Stain,
Hmm.
Obadiah's son. So that there's gonna be some elements there that I'm looking forward to
Hmm.
seeing as far as that's concerned. But
You
in
didn't
terms,
see your guy though. Your guy was not in it.
I didn't see him, even though allegedly I may have already seen him. But that's
For the
neither
new
here
listeners, who
nor
are we
there.
talking about? Who are we talking about?
We are talking about one Mr. Mephisto, who
Hmm.
I've been on a basically the longest Easter egg hunt in Marvel Cinematic Universe history, going dating back all the way to the beginning of 2021,
Hmm.
and especially after Agatha All Along occurred, and we got a mention of Mephisto. Then
Hmm.
me in the detective garb for all them episodes,
Hmm.
only to not get any Mephisto. The fact that allegedly it seems like we're gonna get some Mephisto in here makes one Anthony Canton the third very excited about the
Hmm.
prospects of seeing him.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing about the show for me is it's just like it means a lot to me that you will get Mephisto. Like
Yeah,
that
my
it feels like
long
a
my
big
long national nightmare is over.
it's like it's one of the most important arcs in our show's history. It was like my big arc that was finally resolved was Vision having a penis, and yours is that we're gonna see Mephisto, and we're gonna get a close on that. And it's really nice. We're gonna finally see Mephisto. Whenever he first shows up, I'm gonna immediately text you and say like, "Hey, did you see Mephisto?" And you're not gonna answer because you'll be, uh, popping a bottle of champagne.
I mean, I don't know. It will be like if the Knicks won a championship. Close
Wow,
to.
what if the Knicks win a championship and you get Mephisto in the same month?
Jesus Christ, I might not make it to 2026. Let me tell you, just because of the pure joy and satisfaction. I mean, good God, that's two things in one. It's just a stimulation overload. Goodness gracious! But yes, when the idea of I'm gonna guess Mephisto is connected to the Hood
Yeah.
and that whole situation, and how does that play into Riri and what's going on with her? that will lead into some fascinating
They're
stuff.
clearly setting up the Hood to be an unreliable ally, if not eventual villain, which I
Yes.
think is interesting. And I think that they're setting up. I mean, I really liked what they've seen from the Almighty character because I think that like of all the people in Hollywood, he's gotten a fucking raw deal. Like he really did. He got fucked over. Like I think that he's
Mhm.
not that. He's fine in Solo. Like I don't think he's bad in Solo, but asking anyone who is basically an unknown to play Han Solo in a movie is like me. It's cruel. Like there's no winning there, right?
Yeah.
And he's clearly a capable actor. I've liked him and stuff, and I think that his debut, like his big first performance, is what got him on people's radar. Was in Hail Caesar, where he plays a like a dumb like rodeo kid who comes to Hollywood and can barely remember lines, but he's really really charming,
Hmm.
and he has like such an innocence to him, which like makes him so funny in it. And you watch that movie, and then I see him in this trailer, and it's like, right, this is what he plays well. Like it's actually kind of like he's fine as Han Solo, but it's like no, he's like fine, funny playing an innocent guy. Like that's and I like
Yeah,
that energy.
unassuming type of thing, and
Like
then
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
well,
and
that's
I'm not
good.
saying he can't have some type of turn, but it's like his attitude is like not when he's playing this type. I think he's actually more effective. I mean, obviously he's best as the guy who tells Lewis Strauss that no one was he was thinking about something more important, but still,
Oh man, you just reminded me of one of the greatest movies of my life.
yeah, I love that too.
Oppenheimer.
It's like perhaps they're talking about something more important. Like man, fucking throw the hammer down, Alden.
Oh man, so good, Oppenheimer. Love that damn movie. But yeah, I'm intrigued. Well, the one thing now that we know though that there's going to be a 3 episode drop, I wonder how that will play from a viewing experience standpoint. And once we're all able to break it down when we get on this show here, just to see what the story arc is and how they decided to construct this. And once again, Marvel Studios has gone out of their way to say, "Hey, man, this is kind of like the last of the old regime in terms of how we want to do TV." Brad Winderbaum talked about, "Hey, we're not doing 6 episodes no more. We're kind of changing the whole. We're gonna make TV. We're gonna do the Daredevil stuff, which seems to be very popular, and then we're only gonna do 2 live action things a year and some of the animated stuff, and kind of switch things around to do something more constructive." What a concept. Marvel actually like paying attention to what might work and what's a good idea in TV instead of
Yeah,
just jumping into it full force.
yeah,
But yes, this show, at least from the standpoint of, there's two things I'm kind of looking at. One, just Riri's arc,
yeah.
like just overall arc. How does she get to where she gets? It seems like at the very outset she's going to be involved in a little bit of crime, and then
Mm-hmm.
how she comes to atone for that, and create that hero legend, that hero legacy story is really the most important thing to me. And then after the fact, just quite honestly, what kind of place for her
Yeah.
do they potentially see at
Mm-hmm.
some point going forward in a certain team of youngins that we'll hear
Yeah.
about at some point?
I mean, the big thing for me with her is like one of my concerns about the show is that she is not at the end of Wakanda Forever. She's not really left with like a big problem to solve, right? Like
Hmm.
whatever her arc she's gonna go through in this show is gonna be something that's gonna be introduced in the first few episodes. Whereas like with other characters, it's like oh, like Agatha Harkness for example, it's like she's gonna have to fight to get her magic back. Like you kind of so like because she's Riri Williams like obviously has like problems, so she's not like an unflawed character, but she
Yeah.
doesn't have like an immediate thing to like when they're doing an Ironheart show, it's not immediate what the arc of her character is going to be. You know what I mean? And I think that I hope that they actually like. There's a tendency with shows with especially characters who are like I'm trying to think of a way to say this like non condescendingly, but I think this is a thing that people have acknowledged where it's like characters that are supposed to be like inspirational in some way. Like she's a young black woman who's really successful. That a lot of times they'll the shows will lack conflict because they don't want to have the character be too flawed, and because they want the character to be like a good example. And
Right.
that's the thing I'm afraid of with the show. I'm afraid that she's gonna like that they're gonna lean too hard into her like being too good at everything already. And I don't mean that in like a bad for plot, but like that's the thing that you notice that like that happens a
Yeah.
lot of times where it's like oh they don't want to like. make this character bad. It's like I actually, if she's gonna be involved in crime and stuff like that, I want her to like be involved in crime. I want her to like actually
Yeah,
make
make some
mistakes.
actual mistakes, and
Exactly, because
yeah,
like because I want to be clear, like I don't. I get where it comes from, but it's a phenomenon that you definitely notice in TV. I think when it's like or movies where it's like you don't want to like take this. It's like no, she needs to be flawed, and I really hope that they give her real flaws because that's what makes characters interesting.
yeah, and I think if anything, her personality could lean into that
Mm-hmm.
in a way that makes the character arc interesting and meaningful when she does figure out, oh, hey, I need to be flexible in this type of
Yeah.
way in order to get out of said situation
Mm-hmm.
or learn particular lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So again, same thought from at the top in terms of the frustration, but B, it's not going to stop my enthusiasm for
No.
covering the show and watching the show and seeing how overall it does. And yeah, it's always good to get another Marvel TV show. We got a
No.
couple more down the pike this year, so I'm just hoping for a good time
Yeah.
and to hop on and enjoy it.
My like resolution, especially when I saw a lot of conversation about it after Thunderbolts, is like I'm just fully done of like I don't need to pretend like I mind watching all this stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because it's like I don't mind. Yeah, it might be homework for you guys. That's fine. I'll watch all of it. I don't give a fuck. Like and so I'm excited to have it. They can release a new Marvel show every week, and I wouldn't really mind. Like they shouldn't, but I wouldn't mind.
By the way, it was so interesting reading that Wall Street Journal article
Mhm.
regarding Kevin Feige talking about, well, these shows kind of feel like homework. But
Mhm.
I mean, to be quite honest, man, you were overseeing the shit.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, and I know I've said this a million times, but it's
Yeah,
like I'm glad that they're going to the 2 shows a year.
yeah,
I think that's a smart idea for them. But really, the answer to it is you just make the shows like Agents of Shield level importance. Like that's like it's really dumb that they haven't gotten to that point where it's like, and I know people get frustrated when you talk about the money and stuff, but like the reason why they're only doing 2 shows a year is because the shows are really expensive, and it's like you can just make them cheaper and like not have to worry about them
hmm
because like the reason why they are the inherent problem with the shows is that they are too expensive to not be essential, but because they're essential they feel like homework, right? And so it's like just fucking people have been making genre TV with superheroes since like the 80s, since fucking Adam West. Like there
yeah,
are ways to make it cheaply. Like I am like that's what I'm excited about like Wonder Man or whatever, because like guess what, if Wonder you can make a fucking Wonder Man show that has nothing to do with anything and it's not that expensive. Like
yeah,
I think that it's kind of like the reason why these shows feel like homework is because they're for a grade. You know what I mean? It's like if you actually don't need to watch the shows in order to get the movies, they don't feel like homework. And I think like the way I would actually advise it is like
hmm
don't make them animation necessarily, but treat them like the Star Wars animated shows. Like it with that level of importance where it's like yeah, it's all canon and it enriches stuff, but like you're not gonna not get the Rise of Skywalker if you didn't watch Rebels.
right. No, I couldn't agree with you more, and I think at the end of the day, with them making the movies, putting them back to prominence, and at least we'll see how this is. Obviously, we're in the midst of what is a big year and change for them with what they have coming up as far as the big stuff is concerned. Um, as far as them paring down and kind of changing the way that they do the TV shows. I'm looking forward to seeing how all of that plays out, and if they can really get their ducks in a row and just create quality television each time out, and that goes for the animation too. Improve on those things. So I'm excited to see just overall as a whole where this goes. But as far as Ironheart is concerned, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and that should be fun. I think it.
God, it's really nuts how I'm always the one who's muted most when I'm the producer of the show. Um,
And
no, I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited to see Dominique Thorne get a chance to shine.
yeah,
Like I think that she's really talented, and I'm also excited to see like some Iron Man stuff again because what people pointed out is like this is some of like the most tactile Iron Man type stuff since Iron Man like 2. Because
yeah.
like I don't know how you feel about it, but I think that the Iron Man suit not feeling like metal anymore is like an underrated problem with the late phases 2 and 3. If that makes
Oh,
sense.
buddy. I'll say this. Once I think it was right around. I think it was Civil War
Yeah,
where it really started to go into the non just metal portion of
like
it.
the nanotech is a problem for these movies, and clearly Robert Downey Jr. being like, I make too much money to even spend one moment in a metal suit is a problem. And I think that like if they can reset that a little bit, it'll be helpful because like he's Iron Man, you know, it should be metal, it should be industrial. And she's Ironheart, it should be metal, it should be industrial. Also, you know, shout to Jim Rash for getting the fucking coming
Oh
back.
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
thing about the MCU
MIT.
is no one's ever gone. Like Jim Rash is gonna get however much money he got paid for the series. Why? Because he was on Community and he was friends with the Russo brothers. Like that, there's something I love more than when an actor gets paid just because they're like chill to be around. Like the thing
Yeah.
I always bring up is the fact that Greg Grunberg is in both the Star Wars new trilogy and the Star Trek new trilogy just because he was friends with J.J. Abrams. It's like that's what we all should be aspiring to. You know, Jim Rash is getting money because they were like, hey, we need a fun guy to work at MIT for one scene in a Civil War, and now he's on a TV show 10 years later. That's beautiful.
No, that's perfect overall. Question: how would you feel if Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom had a CGI mask?
I mean, he's gonna have a CGI mask. Like, let's not be stupid. Like, there's no way he's not gonna put on a mask. Like, I don't feel good about it. I don't like it. I think it's. I think the thing about it is that it. I think I bring up a lot is like you want to have the perfect balance of reality and unreality, and like I think when you start to do things like audiences will accept a lot more unreality if what you're showing is someone swinging from webs or flying or punching someone 10,000 feet, right?
Hmm.
Because that's something that you can't do normally. When you start to CGI stuff that you can do normally, that really I think takes audiences out of it. I think that that's like an underrated problem with Thor: Love and Thunder is that
Yeah.
there's an uncanny quality to every moment they're wearing those Thor masks because they're not real. And I think even if you can identify that, I think that there's always a slight thing that feels a little bit off when it's like you could have just made a mask. Why are you
Quantum Mania had the same problem too.
yeah, and so it's like I hate it. It's not gonna like ruin the movie for me, but it's
Hmm.
like sorry, man. Like sorry, Robert Downey Jr. If you don't want to wear a fucking mask again, then you can be making Oscar movies still. Like you don't need to do this actually. Like you don't actually need another beach house or whatever you want you're buying.
Boy, he got a
Honestly,
pretty
beach house
penny to
feels
come
way too
back,
small.
boy. Yeah, I
A
know.
beach compound, an
Yeah,
island.
yeah, that's what he's in that territory. He get into that territory the way they pay him, boy. But nonetheless, looking forward. Ironheart, June 24th. And with that being said, we got some questions, mostly from our Discord, but a couple from Twitter. I want to thank all the listeners for sending them in and being great as always. I want to start with our guy Dalvino Sorio. Uh, whose current character arc do you think is the absolute worst and why?
That's a really good question. I would say that unpopular opinion because I love the character.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Bruce Banner's arc is awful. I think it's just like it just does not
Mm.
work. I think that after and not in total, but I think after Ragnarok, like once he gets back on Earth and he
Yeah.
starts having like the performance issues, it's like okay, that's an interesting idea. And then the fact that they're solved for that is he solved it. I don't everything they've done since then is like all stuff with She Hulk, and then I'm just like I'm not.
Yeah, they depowered the whole.
They depowered him, and they also like took away the tension to him.
Yeah.
It's like imagine if the end of the Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was like I took a potion and I'm fixed. Like that's not interesting.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think that's very fair. Um, that was not the one I was thinking of though, but I really like that answer. That's a good one. The person who I in fact feel this way, I still don't feel like I know enough about Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
It's this very I I can't describe it because even from everything that we've got previously in
Mhm.
her initial movie and Avengers Endgame, and then even into the Marvels, like I feel like I know Kamala Khan so much
Yeah.
more.
I mean, yeah. I think the problem with Carol Danvers' arc is that Captain Marvel, she's not. That's not really part of her arc because she's playing someone with memory loss, so she's like kind of a different character if that makes sense, right?
Right.
Like she's not growing. And I think her stuff in Endgame is obviously like the fact that that was shot before Captain Marvel is a huge problem. I think in the Marvels, there are a couple scenes. Like I think the scene with Carol and Monica in like the bottom of the ship where they're talking about like why she didn't come back or whatever is really interesting. And I think that there is a very very interesting arc to do with Carol where it's like she because we obviously talk way too much about how her power scaling is like off the charts compared to everyone else.
Yes.
And I think that you can tell from that scene that not only is she uncomfortable, she like doesn't really know if she's human or if she's from somewhere else, but I think she's also like very uncomfortable with how powerful she is, right? Like that she loses the ability to relate to people in some way. Like I think that's a lot of why she exiles herself from other people. She's like, I can turn into a bolt of lightning and go through a ship, and they don't really expand upon that because like the Marvels is not really about that. It doesn't need to be about that.
Right.
But I feel like if they don't lean into the thing I think Brie Larson is really good at playing is the fact that she just feels alienated from basically everyone because she can't relate to anyone. If they don't lean into that as their character arc, I'll be disappointed. I think it's there for the taking, but I agree it's really incomplete right now.
Yes. Yes. So I will be interested to see like when I'm assuming that she's gonna be in Doomsday and some of the stuff that they got going on with Secret Wars. So war and obviously in such a big sprawling movie with so many characters that it's always gonna be difficult to find those moments. But I hope they kind of lean into that for her and seeing where that goes, especially in conjunction with the missing Monica Rambeau, as that's something that still has to be resolved at some point, and hopefully they do resolve that. So, Dalbian, I'll get to another question of yours later, Dalbian, but I want to go to JKL, who asks, "Do you think the MCU should have put a bit more focus on score and giving characters more memorable theme songs, or should teams have the memorable songs like the Avengers and X Men?"
I think that the phrasing of the question implies that the reason why there's not iconic scores is because they didn't try. Like I did no one goes into making a movie score and it's like I'm not going to come up with character themes. Like I guarantee if you look at like the soundtracks of MCU movies, there are attempted character themes. It's just if they
Hmm.
work or not. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that there was I don't think that there was at any point a meeting with like Kevin Feige and Alan Silvestri saying like, hey, don't give Iron Man his own interesting theme, right? Like, and I think the MCU obviously does have interesting music. Mostly from Alan Silvestri. The Avengers theme's obviously incredible.
Hmm.
A lot of the stuff from the end of Endgame is incredible. I think that Ant Man's theme is actually really fun. That's a really recognizable one. Um,
Honestly, if we saw the character more than once, I really like Shang Chi's score.
yep.
That
I
was a
mean,
good score.
I mean, shit. Black Panther won 2 score Oscars.
Yeah,
So,
what?
like, I think that I actually don't think that the MCU is lacking for famous scores in comparison to like anything but Star Wars. Like, I'm just trying to think of a franchise that most franchises don't have
Hmm.
iconic scores for most of the characters. It's just really Star Wars, the only one I can think of that is like, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, they could be better in some of them, but I don't know. There's some really good. I like a lot of the scores actually from the MCU,
Yeah, I think. I mean, honestly, you mentioned it with the Avengers. Like they kind of have a good one there.
especially because like iconic film score songs are rare. Like, think there's just not many. Like, unless you're a dork like me, and I would say that after your 2010, I don't think that there's any piece of film music more famous than the Avengers theme. Like, I'm trying to think. After 2010, is there a piece of film music? Maybe the Dune, but no, probably not.
But yeah, the Avengers music is just that's iconic
Yeah,
in
and
its
that's
own
like
right.
not that's no small feat. Like there are not that many film scores that are that iconic.
And by the way, I don't know if it's just something along the lines of just noticing the diehards who noticed this, but even even at the end of Daredevil, when somebody noticed the Spider-Man theme in there, so like
Yeah,
it's pretty clear that they have created, I feel, for the most
yeah.
part, stuff that people could latch on
Yeah.
to with their favorite
By the
characters.
way, I do just want to note because I did made the cutoff 2010, and I'm realizing Inception did come out that year. So before anyone, Inception, yes, is more
I
iconic.
was just thinking about that movie the
Yeah,
other day.
Inception, and you also maybe get argue Interstellar, but I don't know. But like the Avengers theme is just so iconic, and yeah, I think they're doing fine in the score department. I think the Fantastic Four score is gonna be in that because what is that? You're rustling around. Oh, sorry, it's just Giacchino in his bag. My bad.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to hearing that just like with full sound in an IMAX theater.
But just the fact that Michael Giacchino is gonna make a he made the Batman score, which is dark and brooding and awesome, and he's also making the super upbeat, fantastic. Like, God, what a king!
Man, you want to talk about versatility? Let me tell you, that's a five-tool player right there. Um, Caleb Landmesser, who is the Jared from Silicon Valley of the MCU? Meaning, who is always the punchline, but amongst who we see, but is constantly linking with beautiful women.
Huh, that's a good question. Who's always linking with beautiful women? I mean, obviously the MCU is extremely sexless, so no one is. Um,
I mean, conceivably, if if uh if for whatever reason they didn't cut out some of the stuff from Love and Thunder with Thor
yeah.
that was in the trailers.
You know what the actual answer is? The answer is Peter Quill.
Hmm.
I mean, he thinks he's cool, but like he's. I mean, the first time we meet him, he's having a one night stand.
Yeah,
So
true, true, true.
I think that he probably is like the answer, but like there's no like there's just so few characters that we see in any sort of relationship at all. I mean, there's the great arc where Ned is in love with Betty for a little bit. Like that's enough, but
For
even
like
then,
five
like that's just
seconds, yeah.
one. That's just one guy.
And then Matt Murdock is not the punchline. He's
No, no, Matt Murdock is a legendary stickman.
yeah, he's
No, I'm
yeah.
talking about the batons. I'm talking about the batons.
Yeah, so oh man, so that's I hate that the MCU is so sexless, man. Like
Yeah.
it's just so
And
it's
when you say sexist, I mean I think gives people the wrong idea. And as the foremost authority on this, it's like it's none. I don't mind that it's sexist so much as I mind it's like it's also romanceless.
yeah,
It's just like not
yeah.
like I don't need like yeah I'm not expecting anyone to get hot and heavy on screen. Like let's not. It's PG-13 movie, guys sell it in other countries, but like I've said it before, man. And because there's discourse about whether
Mhm.
Yelena and Bob's relationship is like siblings or is it romantic, and I'm like they're two attractive actors.
Bob Lena.
I want them to kiss on screen. Sorry, always. That's my response. Always. Like sue me. So I want to see good-looking people kiss each other and have romance. My bad. I didn't know it was illegal in America.
And I just need just put a little yearning in your TV,
Yes.
and just put a little yearning in your movies, and you will have me hook, line, and sinker. That's all I'm saying, man.
I saw a thing recently where a movie was described as having yearning in it, and I almost texted you, but it was at midnight. I forget what. But you and I saw them like the yearners were back.
Oh yes, oh my goodness. And as you think about sinners, my God, you want to talk about you want to talk about hot and heavy. Let me tell you, boy. Woo,
She
buddy.
walked here, but she doesn't care.
This- oh my goodness gracious. All right. So we got a Twitter question. This is actually more of like a logistic
Mhm,
show question from Z, the user Z on Twitter. On the Doomsday Chair video, which is our Doomsday
mhm,
Chair cast announcement episode, you guys mentioned an Avengers leader video. Was that still on the docket? Also, I'd love a seven member New Avengers, the one led by Sam or whoever, draft discussion. Okay, so two things with that. So the Avengers leader thing, yes, that's an episode.
mhm.
That will be an episode that we will do at some point. Um, I'll try and say within the next month I'd like to do that,
Yeah.
but we'll get to that. And the draft thing, just for people to know, so like
Mhm.
in our Road to Doomsday series, we're gonna wait till after Fantastic
Yeah.
Four, and now that we will kind of have the whole set by that time of who's gonna,
Mhm.
for the most part, who's gonna be going up against Doctor Doom and that whole 9 yards, and we're gonna do a little draft of who we want on our specific team
Mhm.
to go up against Doctor Doom. So you will get a draft episode later in the summer. So
Yeah.
just for that,
Mhm.
and our pal Khalil Ward at Sticks323. With the Punisher getting a special presentation, what other character should get a special presentation?
I mean, my answer is like a lot because I think that that's such a good way to do it.
Hmm.
Especially if it's like for a reasonable scale. Um, there's a couple. I mean, there's so many interesting loose threads that are going on. I think that you could have. Um, I completely just lost it. Hugo. I had one and I immediately lost it.
Okay, I will immediately the first one that comes to mind to me is Ghost Rider, especially if
Yeah.
if you're delving into now like we have the Ironheart stuff and we get Mephisto. Like let's just dive in. You already have Doctor Strange. You have
Mhm.
a bunch of these supernatural characters. If they even bothered to do anything with Black Knight and that whole Ebony Blade crap,
Mhm.
which was somewhat which now is like long gone. We don't know what's happening with any of
Mhm.
that. You have supernatural elements that you could get into, and Ghost Rider kind of fits the bill for that depending on who they cast. I think that would be a fun introduction. I know that Nova was a very popular one that people
Mhm.
always mention that they were planning on doing, but they just couldn't find the story. I think the problem with just this is me. This is just my own personal opinion with the cosmic stuff in the MCU. I think it's just very. I don't know if people have the same appetite for that
Yeah, I agree.
as some of the street level stuff that we get with Daredevil. And because you could see the people just, the Jessica Jones news was like, yo,
Hmm.
all right, we back, we here. And I think the cosmic stuff with something like Nova is more of like a more for the like real diehards,
Hmm.
and also like a passion project for the people who are actually doing the work on on
Yeah.
said show or movie or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like I said, I would be really interested to see almost any character because like especially ones that are mostly in like team up movies because you don't give them a lot of time.
Hmm.
Like I would be interested if they could somehow like turn whatever Armor Wars is into a special presentation. And there's just like so many like tiny. I mean, a big thing that the MCU has is so many great actors who are in like one movie doing a role and like have never been asked to come back. And I
Yeah,
think that'd be a really good opportunity to bring people back who are in a smaller role. I mean, like shit, you could have a not that this would even be a good idea, but like Michelle Yeoh was in the MCU as a
I
like,
know.
and so it's like bring her do something. You could they have so many different characters. I think you could do a I don't know like I mean, obviously, like Blade is an obvious thought, but I would rather that be a movie. I don't know, and even like characters that have already been in stuff. Like, I would love to see like a special presentation would be a good way of like they never really get into Laura Barton's past with being
Yeah, that's a
like
good call.
and that's just an example, but like there's so many things they've set up that it's like I don't need them to make a movie about this. I don't need to make a TV show about this, but like
Shit, Shang Chi's sister,
yeah. Oh shit.
Legend of
That
Ten
yeah. That's
Rings.
the answer.
Shit is
That's the
right
answer.
there.
That's the
It's
answer.
right there.
That's like the most interesting plot line that they're never gonna touch probably. But it's like shit. She's a crime boss and she's awesome. Like what the fuck do you want?
I hate that I just remembered that, and that's why it bothers me so much.
It's like yeah. It's such a great character.
Man,
They introduced like a
God damn
heater
it!
of a character, and it's like and they introduced a really awesome character, and it's like and now she's like a crime boss with like supernatural shit going on, and they're like and you're never gonna see her again.
Uh, but that is a good question. I feel like there's also so many street level characters that you
Yeah.
can do that with. I would even say like if you wanted to do something along the lines of the Penguin,
Hmm.
except it's just said special presentation. If said villain is you, I mean, you could do that with any of the see, and this is where it gets into the trickiness with the Sony and the Spider,
Yeah.
because that is really where if they didn't have the problems that they had with that current deal and everything that goes on with that, that's what they would probably be doing.
Yeah.
You would see Hammerhead. You would see Scorpion, Michael Mando, Scorpion. You would probably see stuff like that because I think that would be something that they would want to do. But again, we have Sony and Marvel and that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm actually more interested in seeing them use these as with characters we already exist more so than I am with new ones. Not that I didn't like Werewolf by Night, um, but
Yeah, that's a Ted.
my good close personal friend. But like that didn't go anywhere, and I like it feels like if you're going to use these, the good way to use it is for things like the Punisher, where it's like okay, we don't need to do a full new series, but we want to see this guy do some cool shit.
Yeah, yeah, and also it could kind of springboard them into
Exactly.
whatever the
Yeah.
next character arc
Yeah.
or story arc will be.
Hmm.
All right, so JKL also asks if you could choose another Marvel Media Universe to appear in Battle Worlds, aka Secret Wars, which would it be? 80s Howard the Duck,
Hmm.
Marvel versus Capcom, Bill Bixby, Hulk, etc.
I mean, that's a tough question. Um, Especially because like I don't have as deep a well of knowledge of this. I
I
mean,
mean, I love the Marvel Ultimate Alliance video game. I
yeah.
think this is kind of I think in some ways I think Secret Wars is kind of leaning into that a little
Hmm.
bit of what that might be. If anybody, I feel like a bunch of listeners who
Hmm.
have probably played those video games. That one, Marvel versus Capcom is a great call. That's a great game over the years, or great games, I should say. With the way that they've kind of spread those out over the years and stuff like that. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? Howard the Duck? Howard the Duck. That's just
I
funny.
mean, the thing is, it's a hard question to answer because like we
Mhm.
already know that so much of it is already in it. Like the Spider-Man movies are all in it. Like not they're
Yeah,
not literally going to be in it, but like you can't say the Spider-Man movies because they're already like canonically other universes. You can't say the X-Men movies. You can't say Blade. So it's like,
Right.
what is left? I mean, like my big thing is like I kind of need Ben Affleck Daredevil to be in it. Like I kind of do. Like I need it.
That would be cool.
Because I think that like I'm someone who, as people know, I'm very pro Ben Affleck. I think that he's just in terms of like he's everything I want in a celebrity. And that he's like way too honest. He's kind of a train wreck, but he like is super self aware about it. And like kind of he like every bad thing about him, he's like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. Like I love that, and I think that like that's I think that he has done so much of like closing a lot of the arcs of his career, and I think that him trying to be Batman, not really succeeding at it.
His comments on that were very refreshing.
Yes, and then I think the way to close it is like, and then as a goof, I'm gonna be with Jennifer Garner on screen as Daredevil. I
You
think
might
that'd be
as
great.
well. You
I
might as
mean, they
well.
co-parent. They're still close. They're still
Yeah.
close.
No
I mean,
reason
people are
not
always
to.
weird about celebrities who get divorced, and it's like, guess what? Most divorced couples still need to interact with each other and are cordial. So they'd be on set together. Bring the kids over to London. Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, and the Deadpool Wolverine cameos were a hit, man. People love them.
Uh huh.
So that would be
Have a
awesome.
great moment with him, and Happy Hogan. I'm kidding. Don't do that. There's the one thing I don't want them to do is to do the bit where like they did the Chris Evans flame on bit in
Yeah.
Daredevil and Deadpool and Wolverine. They can't do that again without because there are a lot of people who play two characters. They can't do that again
Yeah, that would be it worked so perfectly for that movie,
because
but
that genuinely surprised me in a way that I'm like mad at myself about.
that was pretty good. That was pretty
It was a
good.
good bit.
Yeah, very good bit. All right, Caleb Landmesser. Once again, asking the very tough questions.
Mhm.
Who in the MCU has said the hard R
Okay, so there was an answer in the Discord which I agree with, which is the Red Guardian. I think the Red Guardian definitely would say it.
by accident? Yeah,
Not, but I think by accident, but also like he doesn't understand like the cultural like he would say it as like an insult, but like he thinks it's just like an insult. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he doesn't understand.
yeah.
I think like, a lot of people would say Hawkeye. Like that's an easy answer.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think that like I don't know. I guess I think this is also because like I mostly grew up around like northern white people. And like I
hmm
think Hawkeye probably is racist, but there's a lot of types of racists in America that would like that scoff at that like would find the idea of using the N word gauche. Like I almost most of the racists I've met
yeah.
in my life, like in my family or whatever, would never say the N word because it's like, oh, I'm not racist. You know what I mean? So like
Right.
Hawkeye I'm on the fence about.
I'm trying to think. I feel like a lot of the Hydra folks back in
Mm.
the day would have definitely used that. Um,
Oh,
uh,
Brock Rumlow is definitely.
oh my God, so easily. I remember when he was fighting Sam,
Mhm.
and he was looking down on him. Let me tell you,
Yeah,
he was
Brock
tearing
Rumlow definitely has
him
said it.
up. That's top of the list, boy. That's
Yeah,
top
that's
of
the answer actually.
that is top of the list. Maurice asks if Doomsday underperforms at the box office. What do you think that will mean for Secret Wars, if anything?
That's a good question. I think that I think they'll probably be too far into production to do anything major.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wrap.
Yeah,
But okay, just for logistics'
yeah.
sake. So, all right, Doomsday shoots probably into the summer, ends 2 3 month break maybe back, and then right back in
Mhm.
to do
I
Secret
think
Wars.
the answer I would say is that one, they might push it back a little bit to like be like we're gonna get everything right. That wouldn't surprise me. And I
hmm
think what the changes they would make, what they probably would do reshoots to make however it ends more final for more characters and basically let themselves do a complete because they're obviously doing a lot of clean resets here, but to do an even more clean reset, I would guess.
Yes. That we'll look forward to. Maybe I would like to introduce a death pool as we get closer
Yeah.
to the Doomsday. All right. So Maurice also asks, since he crosses out since we're never gonna get another Eternals movie, put one Eternal in the Avengers, New Avengers, and West Coast Avengers. Which,
All
by
right.
the way, for context with West Coast Avengers, the word on the street about the Vision show
Mm-hmm.
is there is going to be a little bit of a West Coast Avengers element to it, as in we will get some major characters, and that kind of makes some sense due to the fact that Ultron is involved in the
Mm-hmm.
show. So I can see that becoming a thing. So just for context,
Yeah, I my answer is West Coast Avengers Kingo because he's got to be in Hollywood.
I had the same answer.
And then you said new Avengers or the regular Avengers.
Yeah,
I feel like who would be in the new Avengers? Who has that vibe? I mean, like Druig is kind of like the bad boy, but he's like there's already too much brooding in the new Avengers, so I don't think it'll be him.
I would nominate Makari.
Yeah, I can see Makari. Yeah, and then for the regular Avengers, I mean,
Fastos for me.
Fastos. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That too. Yeah, because Cersei, like, I think the problem, one of the problems with Eternals is that Cersei kind of is a blank slate a bit. Is I
Yeah.
don't like what is her deal? Uh, you know.
It's tough. That was a very robotic character. It's so funny. Like there are some really good performances in that, and some characters that I actually really enjoyed.
Mm.
Um, but that was one of them where it's just like, oh damn, Angelina Jolie's here, and she's kind of just here.
Yeah, really insane that she's in that movie and doesn't make much of an impact. And yeah, I've always been a very Angelina Jolie skeptic in that, like, I'm like, is she like how many movies has she really been like good in?
Hmm.
Um, and I think that Eternals is a pretty good, like, the fact that she kind of gets overshadowed by actors who are not as lauded as her
I
is
know.
a pretty good note for my case. I mean, she's been good and stuff, but it's like think about how
Yeah,
famous Angelina Jolie is, and think about like what her most famous movies are.
yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, Laura Croft is probably like her most iconic character, and it's like those movies were not that big. Like, they were,
Yeah, and they were not that good either. To be
no.
quite
I think
honest.
her most successful movies, I think, are number one and two are the Maleficent movies, other than like animated. And it's like that's not a lot.
Yeah,
Anyway, I
yeah.
don't know why randomly. This is one of my topics that I always bring up, so I apologize to her.
All right, so our guy Montel asks, name some MCU characters, specifically anti-heroes, villains, or just not morally, ethically sound people that would be better Democratic presidential candidates than Kamala Harris.
Okay, who would be? I mean, obviously Bucky Barnes. I think would be a very good presidential candidate. I think he'd be a horrible president because he's a horrible congressman. Like, he's
Yeah,
just bad at being in Congress. Um,
that answer that he gave at the beginning of the
yeah,
movie when they was
but like, I think
that
that
was funny.
a 100-year-old World War II veteran would be like a great presidential candidate, even though he was an assassin. Like, I think that that's actually like a really good resume.
1,000%. The
Who
right
else?
wing would eat that up. Let me tell you,
Yeah,
boy.
I think that like, but people might be tempted to say John Walker, but John Walker has like he has the same off-putting manner of speaking that JD Vance does, so I actually don't think that would be good.
Yes. Yeah, he couldn't. He couldn't cut it. He
Um,
couldn't cut it. Sam Wilson.
no, Sam Wilson would be an awful presidential candidate.
Sam Wilson. Oh my god.
Yeah, because Sam Wilson would just say like the most bland platitudes. Also, I also could definitely see Sam Wilson be like, "We got to bring Liz Cheney on stage. We need to reunite the country." He definitely would think that we need to do that.
Oh my god. He
I mean,
would.
Thunderbolt Ross won, although it's. I mean, let's be honest. They don't say, but he's definitely a Republican. Given that we know that
Yes.
Wendell Pierce is in the opposite party, it's like I think that Thunderbolt Ross is probably a Republican.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. one
but no,
thousand percent.
you
Let
know,
me think. Who would be better? Um,
yeah, the anti-hero bit is what makes it a little bit difficult. I think that like
Villain. Let me go into the. Let me go into the
villain,
villains
yeah.
bit.
I mean, like Alexander Pierce, but also like he has the problem with he's old, and obviously that's not good.
Adrian Toombs. Put him in
Oh my
there.
god, Adrian Toombs. You know the thing is,
For the working man.
Adrian Toombs. You know what he would be? The apps. This is what Adrian Toombs would be. He would be a
Mhm.
Democratic Senate candidate who would win and then immediately he'd be like John Fetterman, where he'd win and then immediately like be the worst. It's like, oh my god, I fucking hate this guy.
Oh my
Like, why
god.
are you like? Why did you vote for? Like, yeah, he's the worst.
Adrian
Also, once again,
Toombs.
but the thing about him is though, his biography of like clearly not college educated, but like quote unquote self-made by stealing shit entrepreneur who now lives in the suburbs. That is the most Republican. Like, there's just no way that that's a Democrat.
Yeah, and another Spider-Man villain. Put Quentin Beck in there, right? Oh boy. Let me tell you, they would eat
No,
him
no,
up.
that would be really bad. No, I mean, I think that the answer is probably Bucky Barnes. Because like, yeah, I think that people would just be because like, what are you gonna say in a debate to Bucky Barnes about anything?
Yeah, shit. That's gonna be very, very difficult. Very difficult. All right. So Montel also asked, has there been an equivalent of Maggie Gyllenhaal's "quote unquote" set the block on fire in the MCU? dated back. Most people would know this reference, but this is from Cold Pizza, aka First Take, when Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith would be talking about Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight and that whole 9 yards and that wonderful tweet from back in the day.
I mean, specifically, let's spell it out because because I kind of hate this tweet because it just I don't like that the joke is it's just calling a woman ugly. Like that is, I don't like that a lot. Also, because it's like this Maggie Gyllenhaal has been beautiful in a lot. Like secretary, she's a beautiful woman in that. So I'm not gonna. I don't love that tweet exists. I mean, I mind it so much, but the tweet basically is saying that like if you were Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight, you wouldn't care that she burned alive because she's not that attractive. That's what the tweet is. Like that's
Yes,
the.
yes.
And is there an equivalent of that in the MCU? My gut answer is like I don't
Um,
think so.
there's some hot ass women in the MCU. Let me tell
Yeah,
you.
and so like no, I don't think so.
That's the only problem. Yeah, that's the only problem. Like, if you really think, really do the real, fucking Zendaya's in the MCU's, and you have her, you have Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness, that's classic right there.
Hmm.
Florence Pugh, Scarlett Johansson. I mean, we talk about the creme de la creme.
Exactly, and exactly because it's in everyone. You know, like it. Yeah, I think that. So I don't think that there's an equivalent. Justice for Maggie Gyllenhaal. Like, I just, it's like, I get why it's a viral tweet. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like I don't get it. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't get it. But it's like, the joke is just calling a woman ugly. It's not great.
It's so mean. It's so mean, but it's so.
No,
It's
of
just the way
course.
that it's said that's so
And the thing
funny.
is she really was done no favors by the fact that she was replacing Katie Holmes. And like, it
Yeah,
sucks for
that's the
her
problem.
because like, the gap in attractiveness between Katie Holmes and Maggie Gyllenhaal is a lot smaller than the gap in acting talent between Maggie Gyllenhaal and Katie Holmes, because one of them is a good actor and the other one's Katie Holmes. And so like I feel kind of bad because it's like that character is like boring as shit in Batman
Like,
Begins.
yeah,
It is
it's
interesting
very
in The
one
Dark
note.
Knight.
Yeah, it's just very, very one
Anyway.
note. Yeah. All right. So to continue with Montel's
Mhm.
questions, is Feige going to be more likely to cut bait with characters that aren't fan favorites like Taskmaster?
Yes, and you should be.
Yeah, I
That's
think
my
that's
hot
fair.
take. My hot take is only the biggest dorks online were mad that Taskmaster died. I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean, but like it worked.
Mhm.
It worked.
By the end of the movie, it didn't end up mattering. I think my only contention on it will be, then don't make the fucking characters in the first place.
Oh, I agree. I know it's unfair and shitty. I'm being
That
glib.
part, that part of
I'm
it, that
being
part of it for
glib
me.
because I'm a glib person.
Hmm.
But I think that like I don't know. I think that it it's just a
Hmm.
better idea to cut bait than be I don't know. It's then to drag on a character that doesn't work. Like especially if we're paring back the amount of things we're putting out there,
It's true.
then like every minute you devote to characters that isn't working, like I feel bad for Ogo Kirilenko, but also she's third build, so she definitely got the amount of money that she was promised. And it's shitty
Hmm.
to do that to a character that's really cool in the comics, but like I don't know, man. The people love Thunderbolts.
No, yeah, and I just, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, the Black Widow thing was just like it was just a miss from that standpoint in terms of what the character could have been. But nonetheless, I do agree with you overall that it did end up working for the betterment of what the movie ended up being and everything else, and it didn't turn out to be something that we really missed by the
No,
end of the
I
proceedings.
mean, what I would prefer they do in the future is to just like not even kill a character off screen, but just like yada yada them off screen. Like I don't need to see all these characters get killed, you know. But yeah, I we just don't need to. We don't need to bring it back a character that's not working.
All right, so I'm gonna go to Caleb Landmaster. Caleb once again. So Caleb,
Oh
once
no,
again with the hard hitting questions. If Hulk and Black Widow didn't roll the windows down in the back seat of the Sentra, what would it smell like?
nothing good is the first answer. Um,
Caleb, Caleb,
I
Caleb.
mean, shit. I don't know, man. Gamma.
I mean, listen, Gamma, Gamma, maybe some type of how do you say? How do you say? A little something, a little fishy-ish.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm
yeah. There's
saying?
not.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, it's a.
Caleb, Caleb, Caleb.
I
By the way, I just want to say as my laundry once
yeah. I was
again
gonna
goes
say. I
off.
was gonna let you know.
Per usual. That is at Caleb Landmesser.
Mm,
If you want to ask him about his
mhm,
specific thoughts
mhm.
on why he would ask a question such as
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
Caleb, we
Uh,
we don't do any shaming on this
No.
show, so we don't mind answering the question.
Mhm.
But I figure the people might want to know, just in case they want to ask
Yep.
you why you would ask a question like that.
Good call. Good
Well,
call.
at Caleb Landmesser. So thank you,
Mhm.
Caleb. Appreciate you, brother. I have another question from Dalvin Osorio who says, "When does Dalvin come back to hang with his bros Jake and
I
AC? I'll
mean,
hang up and
when you're
listen."
available, when you're
When,
available.
yeah, that's really what it is, man. There. Listen, there'll always be use for you, brother. There will always be use, especially like when maybe with the whole Mephisto thing, that
Mhm.
might be some you could get into the Easter egg hunting and all that stuff. You like your rabbit holes, so
Mhm.
so we can definitely get that started. I'll tell you this: it'll be sooner than later.
Mhm.
That much will be true. So don't worry, Dalvin. You will be back on the show soon enough. And our guy Montel once again asks, "Who will be the best leader of their respective Avengers team? Kamala, Sam, or Yelena?" I vote Yelena.
Yeah, I think that Kamala. The problem with Kamala that Kamala's gonna have is being a fangirl. I think it's gonna be good to assemble people, but that's
Mhm.
not leadership. Like I think that she doesn't she puts these people in too high esteem. I think that Yelena really showed real leadership chops.
Yes,
And
incredible, actually. Yes,
I mean, the answer is just definitely not Sam because you remember
I
how
remember. Yeah,
LeBron didn't respect David Blatt. You know what I mean? Like that's what Sam. I feel like he's David Blatt.
that's already what's happening with this copyright
Yeah.
Avengers thing, like with the Avengers with a Z.
Hmm.
That's it's just so it's so funny. And then what I'm very curious to see is will Kamala actually be the leader of that team? Because I do kind of feel that it should probably should be Kate.
Yeah.
So that might end up a thing where Kamala might assemble the team, but that it will be a situation where I think Kate kind of being sort of the elder statesman and actually being involved with some real street level stuff with Hawkeye. That would be I could see Kate running that squad. I'm looking forward when they do assemble that squad because that's an interesting mix of people.
If I didn't know any better, I would have, I don't know, greenlit a movie called The Young Avengers before Doomsday, but I don't know. I'm just a fucking country lawyer.
Hey man, they again. I mean, could have the Thunderbolts thing to the new Avengers thing could have just been done a little sooner, and you could have
Because
had a little
the thing
franchise.
about it, which is so crazy, is if you would have told me if you told me 6 months ago that the
Hmm.
Thunderbolts movie is going to end with them being the new Avengers, I would be like, oh my god, that's such a fucking terrible idea. Why are they doing that? And it completely works. It works. They stick the landing on it. It's because it's done it's done knowingly. Like it's not. It's done basically with the idea that like this is obviously not a functional group. Here, yada yada.
Hmm.
And so like the fact that they had that as a thing to do. It's like, well, then you should do this for all of the respective teams for Doomsday. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be fine.
They,
It's gonna think it's
y-
gonna be fine because
yes.
but
Ultimately, this kind of let me tell you, Thunderbolts did a lot for me in terms of just kind of making me feel a lot better about
yeah.
things.
I mean, it's great. It's great. I saw it actually. I've ended up actually seeing it 3 times because I was
Oh,
bored a
salute
couple
to
nights
you.
ago. And because the thing is, my local theater is under construction and so it only has like 6 screens open. And it was
Hmm.
either seeing Thunderbolts a third time when I oftentimes will pick the movie based on the time, and I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I want to go between 7 and 8, and it was either Thunderbolts for a third time or the Kerry Washington Omar Sy movie Shadow Force, which even though I see it on my Regal app, I'm like, are we sure this is not straight to streaming? Are we sure? And so I saw Thunderbolts a third time.
Every time I saw a commercial for that, I was like, "Is that on Netflix
Yeah,
or no?"
it is the most Amazon Prime ass movie I've ever seen.
That's too funny. That's too funny. Okay, Maurice asks. All right, so like Wolf, Maurice, I'm gonna skip the special presentation portion of
Yeah.
this since we talked about that earlier. But
Mhm.
if you could fast track a movie sequel
Mhm.
or an origin movie slash TV show, what would
Mhm.
they be?
That's a really good question. I would
Well,
probably,
sequel is Shang Chi. Like, just do
yeah,
it, please. God damn it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the first one I
yeah.
would say.
Fast track a sequel, or I mean, the thing I want more than anything is season 2 of She-Hulk, which won't happen because it's the most expensive show they ever do.
Yeah.
But Fast Track, I mean, honestly, like Fast Track, as I just said, if they a Young Avengers movie, honestly, is what it would be. It's
Yeah, that feels like if yeah,
because I'm thinking
I
about the
would love
characters I
that.
want to see more of, and they're all. I mean, the two of the biggest ones are Kate and Kamala Khan.
Well, that would be so much fun. And then I just think them making it a show. I don't know, man. Like you ain't gotta make that a show. That'd
No.
be like a fun. That would be really like a really fun movie. I
Mm-hmm.
really think that would hit. But hey, man, what do I know? I'm just here talking.
Mm-hmm.
Um. All right. So the final question
Mm-hmm.
from our guy Film Wanderer: if the MCU were Tekken, which characters would have the skill sets of Jin, Kazuya, Nina, etc.? Which characters would headline the forever running Mishima saga? Now, if I played Tekken way
I was
more
not a
now
Tekken
than I
guy. I
did back
apologize.
in the day, then I would understand some of these characters. But I
Yeah.
got to tell you, my
No, I
memory's a little
was.
shot as far as that's concerned.
This is an alienating thought, but my growing up, my like fighting games were the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi games, and the
Yeah.
bigger one was the Soul Calibur games, which no one remembers. But those were the ones that I played with my brothers. We weren't really, I guess, we weren't Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, so I apologize.
Yeah, I would. I mean, yeah, it would be more of like a Street Fighter thing. Obviously, somebody like Dalzim would be like Ree Richards
Mm-hmm.
or Kamala Khan in that type of
Mm-hmm.
way. You could have the what the hell's his name is Bison, I think.
And Bison, yeah, of course.
Yeah, M Bison. You got that kind of has like a little bit of a bit of a Thanos vibe, except it's a human dude who's
No,
really
and
strong.
Bison, I would say is Magneto, if anything.
It's Magneto. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I give him
I
that.
mean, he's like his power's electricity, but he's like he's yeah, like an evil mastermind type guy.
Yeah, and then Ryu and Ken, you can make like Iron Fist
Yeah,
and Shang Chi, like
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
With something along those lines. But I'm sorry, yeah, Tekken. See, I played Tekken, but it was not my bag. Tekken was not my bag. I was playing Street Fighter most of the time
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. I wasn't even playing Mortal Kombat like that, to be honest with you. It was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Street. It was a lot of Street Fighter, and it was a lot of superhero shit. I was playing X Men, Spider Man, Batman, like all those were the games that I was playing on my Sega
Mm-hmm.
Genesis, into my Super Nintendo, into Nintendo 64, into PlayStation,
Yeah,
etc., etc., etc. But with that being said, I want to thank Film Wanderer. I want to thank all of our listeners for submitting these questions and giving us some content to make. And this was a fun conversation. And we will be back at some point. I don't know. We're gonna come up with something. We'll come up with something to do on the main feed until we get to Ironheart. There's gonna be a lot of stuff. I'll tell you this right now, as far as the Patreon is concerned, you're gonna get the Fantastic Four stuff, and you are going to get. I would assume because whenever you see it, Jake, I know I'm seeing it next Thursday, but Mr. Cruz is back in action
yeah.
for Mission
I'm not able to see
Final
it
Reckoning.
until the Monday after because I'm going to be on vacation next week.
That is
So
total. That is totally fine. And
we'll talk. Well, we'll get to it.
we gonna figure it out. We gonna figure it out. And yes, so like we will have stuff in the hopper in the meantime, and then of course we'll get back to some of the Road to Doomsday stuff as we keep going along here. And yeah, we're not too far from Superman. But I saw that trailer. I wasn't trying to see that trailer, but I ended up seeing it because I had drank an adult beverage, and then I was stuck in my seat yesterday watching
Uh,
the Nick
Wait,
game.
was it your strawberryta or do you switch it up?
Oh, but we went with the lemonade arena.
Okay, okay. You're an Arita guy, and that's what I
Yeah,
love about you.
yeah, and boy, I was just like, could I get? Oh, it's on. I was just like, all right, let me watch it, and then I could not believe what I saw as we're finding out that James Gunn might have something incredibly
Hmm.
special on his hands, which is something that we'll talk
Hmm.
about as we get to July. But this has been fun as always, Jake. As always, love you, brother. Where
Love you
can we
too.
find you, sir?
You can follow me on Twitter at the J Christie. Follow me on TikTok at the J Christie. On Blue Sky at J Christie. And if you're listening to this on Friday or watching this, I'm live streaming for 24 hours tomorrow. And if you are watching this before 8 p.m. on Friday or listening to
Mhm.
it, please donate to my live stream for I'm raising money for a group called Zebra Youth, which helps LGBTQ teens and young adults in the Orlando area, particularly with like housing and supplies if they get kicked out and stuff like that. And if you donate, tell me what superhero movie you want me to watch on stream. Currently, there's some fun. The top 10 right now as we're recording is these are the movies I want. Currently, I'm going to watch, but these easy can change because The difference between 10 and 11 is $3 right now. So like,
Mhm.
and if you donate $30+ for anything right now, you get it in. So this is what we have: Sky High, Thor: The Dark World, Madam Web, Mystery Men, Spider-Man 2, The Meteor Man, Birds of Prey, Almighty Thor, a straight-to-TV movie, The
Mm.
Incredibles, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and Son of the Mask. So a
Ooh,
lot
son
of
of
a lot of
that.
stuff could be, but there's some stuff on the outside looking in, like someone gave $25 for Orgasmo, for example.
Orgasmo.
So donate, and if you're like, hey, I only can have like $20 to donate, text two friends to get $5, boom, you're in. So I really, I would have fun on Saturday. Hopefully AC can join me for a little bit. Anyone can come through. The way I just do it is I start the day by sending everyone a link saying, hey, hop on, whatever, and then I just stop worrying about it. And then my brain is fried. I'll sleep until 4 p.m. on Sunday, and yeah, it's gonna be a great time.
That is, yeah, that's the goal. I should be making an appearance. I
It's
just
the
don't know
thing
what
about it
time yet.
is you have a
Yes,
24-hour window. If you're free,
yes.
if you're free in a 24-hour window, you can hop on.
I will do my best to make sure that I am available for that. So yes, make sure that you donate to that and get involved in Jake's stream. Those are usually a wonderful time, and with the amount of people that normally come on, it's usually a lot of fun people. So
Mm-hmm.
that should be enjoyable to watch if you're doing so, and of course, it's for a good cause. So make sure that you donate and get involved with that. And you can follow me on Twitter at Anthony Canton _3. Follow the show on all platforms at MC University Pod. I mentioned the Patreon stuff, so we got stuff hopping there. Like I said, YouTube channel, subscribe, like, comment, all those things. If you want to see something, if you want to let us know something, please feel free and let those things be known. And thank you for listening and supporting. So for Jay Christie, I'm Anthony Canton III. This has been Marvel Cinematic University, and we will talk to you next time.